The deadliest ground in the Appalachian Mountains is almost always the ground that looks the most inviting. A soft trail buried under autumn leaves, a clear stream threading its way between the trunks, a quiet campsite where the loudest thing you hear is a songbird. Nothing in those scenes warns you, and that is precisely the problem. Nature doesn't have to look menacing to be overwhelming. All it asks for is one lapse in your attention, a single misplaced boot, a palm set down on the wrong stone, a head turned the wrong way at the wrong second. That is usually the whole story. Today we're going to look at 15 extraordinary animals that all point to the same quiet truth. These mountains were never actually conquered. We just got comfortable reading their stillness as safety. Before we get to the first animal, there's something worth understanding about this range. People love to call the Appalachians gentle, ancient, gorgeous, and they aren't wrong. But beauty is very good at convincing us we're protected. These ridges have outlasted entire civilizations. Long before anyone cut a switchback or posted a trail marker, this place already answered to something else, something that never packed up and left. Across millions of years, the Appalachians grew into one of the most biologically crowded regions in North America. A place where every rotting log, every stone shelf, every creek bed, every drift of leaves can conceal something built specifically for going unnoticed. Out here, the winner isn't the animal with the most muscle. It's the animal you'll never spot. That's the exact reason so many encounters register only in hindsight. If digging into the hidden layer of America's backcountry sounds like your kind of trip, take a second to subscribe before we go any further. Every week we pull back the curtain on the hunters, the oddities, and the wildlife stories unfolding a lot closer to you than you'd guess. Now, let's get to the first animal. Every wild region has its heavyweights, but Appalachia teaches something different. Around here, the first things that can hurt you aren't the giants, they're the ones nobody registers. Number 15, copperhead. This snake doesn't win with quickness or power, it wins by waiting. All through the range, its bronze-toned scales melt into a layer of dead leaves so completely that it may be the easiest venomous snake in the country to walk right past. Almost every incident happens during something unremarkable. A hiker cuts a corner off the trail, someone grabs an armload of firewood, a kid pokes around in the leaf litter. The animal isn't stalking anybody. It only responds when its exits are gone. In these mountains, one thoughtless step can be the whole margin. But the forest floor isn't the only layer holding secrets. Number 14, black widow. Not everything hazardous in this range stays out in the backcountry. Some of it moved in next door. Black widows gravitate toward dim, undisturbed pockets, stacked firewood, aging sheds, crawl spaces, even a pair of boots left on the porch overnight. Bites are uncommon and usually happen only when the spider is pinned. When one does bite, the neurotoxic venom can bring on intense pain and hard muscle cramping. It's a reminder that the wall between our world and the wild one is a lot thinner than we assume. And sometimes what you should worry about is under the water instead. Number 13, snapping turtle. A still mountain pond looks like the most harmless spot in the whole forest. Under that surface, though, a snapping turtle might be parked in the silt, effectively invisible. These are ancient animals that spend the overwhelming majority of their lives dodging trouble. But catch one out on land, or try picking one up, and it can lunge faster than you'd expect with jaws that don't need a second attempt. They're proof that calm water still earns your caution. Then there are the hunters that almost never let on that they're nearby. Number 12, eastern coyote. As wolves were erased from most of the eastern states, coyotes slid quietly into the gap they left. The eastern coyote is now among the most flexible predators in Appalachia, working its way through woodlots, pastures, and the outskirts of small mountain towns, usually once the light is gone. Hardly anyone ever lays eyes on one. People just catch a chorus of howls rolling somewhere across the hollows and assume the pack is a long way off. More often than not, it isn't. And as these mountains darken, the residents get even harder to pick out. Up to now, the animals we've covered have been fairly small, but once the sun drops behind the ridgelines, the whole place shifts. This is the hour when the other Appalachia wakes up, a version of it run by hunters. Number 11, timber rattlesnake. If the copperhead trades on silence, the timber rattlesnake trades on what you assume. Nearly everybody believes they'll get a warning buzz well before they ever see the snake. That's not a promise you can count on. Timber rattlers like to stretch out on sun-baked rock shelves a few feet off the trail, or tuck themselves into low mountain brush. The rattle comes out only when the animal decides it has run out of better options. The rest of the time, its patterning handles the job just fine, which is why plenty of hikers have no clue one is there until they're practically standing over it. But not everything in these hills threatens you from ground level. Number 10, yellow jackets and hornets. Here's a statistic that catches almost everyone off guard. In the United States, stinging insects kill more people every year than bears, snakes, and spiders put together, mostly through severe allergic reactions. Across Appalachia, yellow jackets frequently nest below ground, taking over abandoned rodent tunnels or the hollow space beneath a downed tree. You can stroll past the same colony 20 times and never suspect it. Then one bad step or just the rumble of a lawnmower sets off a coordinated defense. Now the problem isn't a sting, it's dozens of them, sometimes hundreds all at once. And even these aren't the champions of staying out of sight. Number 9, brown recluse. The brown recluse has no reputation for size. Its reputation is patience. This retiring spider seeks out dark, untouched corners, basements, storage totes, forgotten sheds, closets, clothes that haven't been moved in months. It goes out of its way to avoid us, but if it ends up pressed against skin, it will bite in self-defense. The venom can break down the tissue around the wound, and in bad cases, healing drags on for weeks. The uncomfortable part is how many homeowners have no idea one has been sharing the house until the day something finally goes wrong. And then come the predators virtually nobody lays eyes on. 8. Bobcat. The bobcat is evidence that a top predator doesn't need bulk to run its territory. At roughly double the size of a house cat, it drifts through the timber at first and last light, then folds back into cover. Bobcats live across most of the Appalachian region, and yet actual sightings stay remarkably scarce, because staying clear of humans is one of the things this cat does best. There are people who've spent 40 years living against these woods without once realizing a bobcat has been slipping through the trees behind the house. And if you figure the bobcat is the biggest hunter left up here, the next stretch may adjust that. For over 100 years, plenty of people were convinced Appalachia's largest animals were gone for keeps. The big predators, the heavyweights of the highlands. But the wilderness never actually surrendered. Today, some of its most striking residents are quietly taking back the forests that were theirs to begin with. Number 7, black bear. If one animal stands in for the whole Appalachian wild, it's the American black bear. From Tennessee up through Pennsylvania, bear numbers have rebounded remarkably after decades of protection. Spotting tracks in the mud, claw scars up a trunk, or a bear trotting across a mountain highway barely counts as a story anymore. Most of them would rather be anywhere you aren't. But the moment a bear starts connecting people with a free meal, everything about its behavior can shift. A bear that has lost its wariness of humans becomes far less predictable and far more of a problem. The bear isn't the only species clawing its way back, though. Number 6, fisher. Most people have never heard the name. Fewer still have ever seen one. This muscular member of the weasel family was nearly wiped out of much of Appalachia generations ago. Restoration work has paid off, and fishers are gradually filtering back into older forests across the region. They're superb climbers and relentless hunters, one of the very few animals that routinely kills porcupines. They're essentially no danger to us, but their comeback says something larger. It means the forest itself is getting healthier, and the shifts aren't confined to the ground, they're happening overhead too. Number 5, golden eagle. Say golden eagle and most Americans picture the open country out west. Yet every winter a modest number of these birds travel thousands of miles to spend the season in the Appalachians. With a wingspan clearing 7 feet and vision sharp enough to pick out prey at extraordinary range, they cruise these ridgelines almost entirely unremarked. Hardly any visitor considers that one might be circling far overhead, quietly reading the valley below. And then there's a species that was missing from these mountains for over a century. Number 4, elk. For generations, the eerie bugle of a bull elk was simply absent from Appalachia. Today, after ambitious reintroduction and conservation work, elk are back in parts of the region, particularly around Great Smoky Mountains National Park. A grown bull can top 700 pounds, which makes it one of the biggest land mammals anywhere in the eastern United States. Come the autumn rut, bulls turn fiercely territorial and have charged anything they read as a rival, including people who edged in too close for a photo. Good evidence that plant eaters demand distance too, once the wild starts taking its ground back. But one animal is still waiting, one that was never supposed to be here at all. Not everything dangerous in Appalachia grew up here. Some of it arrived with us, and over time it rewrote these mountains in ways nobody predicted. Number 3. Wild boar. In the early 1900s, European wild boar were brought into the Appalachians to stock private hunting grounds. It didn't take much time for a few to slip the fences. A century plus later, their descendants are still out there, mostly working the night shift. Between the razor-edged tusks and raw strength, a cornered boar ranks among the most dangerous animals you could ever meet in the field. Their real damage, though, isn't done to people. It's done to the land. By plowing up the forest floor hunting for food, they wipe out native plants, wreck delicate habitat, and endanger species that have held on here for thousands of years. Even so, this animal doesn't take the top slot. Number 2. Black vulture. Unlike most raptors, black vultures don't always wait for something to die. Operating in small, coordinated groups, they've been documented attacking weak or newborn livestock. On rare occasions, they've injured pets and even people who wandered too near a nest. Across the Appalachian region, their population has climbed steadily over recent decades, making them an ever more familiar shape over woodlands, farmland, and mountain valleys. Attacks on humans stay rare, but the combination of intelligence, nerve, and expanding numbers has turned them into one of the most closely monitored birds in the eastern United States. Number 1. Black-legged tick. The most dangerous animal in the Appalachian Mountains isn't the biggest, it isn't the strongest, and it's certainly not the one that looks the part. It's the black-legged tick. Roughly the size of a sesame seed, this parasite has become one of the biggest health threats facing anyone who walks the forests of the eastern United States. It waits in tall grass, low brush, and leaf litter for an animal or a person to brush past. Unlike a snake or a bear, a tick has nothing to defend. It doesn't pursue, it doesn't posture, it just climbs on, unnoticed. One bite can pass along Lyme disease, anaplasmosis, babesiosis, and several other serious infections. Plenty of people don't know they were ever bitten until days afterward, when the first symptoms surface. That's what sets this animal apart from everything else on the list. The threat isn't sudden, it's invisible. And that's exactly why it works so well. Once you've looked at all of it, one thing settles into place. The Appalachian Mountains aren't dangerous because monsters live in them. They're dangerous because they repay attention and charge you for carelessness. Every path, every creek, every deadfall, every silent slope belongs to a system that has been shaping living things for millions of years. Almost every animal we've covered today wants nothing whatsoever to do with us. They're just getting by in the only home they've ever known. The real work was never taming this place. It's learning to travel through it with knowledge and respect, because the wild was never against us. It was simply here first.